Welcome back, everyone, to a very special episode of the Educational AD Podcast. We'll be right back with today's guest, but we want to give a shout out to our podcast partners, We Coach, and the global community of women in high school sports. Check out these two great organizations that you should really be a part of. And now, let's have a word from our podcast sponsors. We want to say thanks to Sideline Interactive for their support. Go to sidelineinteractive.com and check out their indoor scoring tables and video boards. They not only generate income for your department, but they also create the ultimate game day experience for your student athletes. Go to sidelineinteractive.com and schedule a live web demo and see their tables and boards in action. That's sidelineinteractive.com. We also want to say thanks to Snap Mobile. Go to snapraise.com and check out their entire suite of platforms designed to help you as an athletic director do your job better. Snap Connect is their parent engagement platform. Snap Store allows you to order custom spirit gear. Snap Raise is their fundraising platform. We've used it with great success, and so can you. There's even an option to get your funding before you actually do your fundraiser. Does anybody else do that? Go to snapraise.com for more information about the Snap Mobile platform. We also want to say thanks to Huddle. Go to huddle.com and see how over 200,000 teams are using their platform to help their athletes play better. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years, but when I became an athletic director, I made sure our school was a Huddle school, and our coaches just loved the smart cameras, the mobile apps. Of course, they love the analytics, but there's so much more. Huddle's going to provide a professional grade solution to the challenges that you and your coaches face. At Huddle, we believe in sports and teams believe in Huddle. Join the 6 million users and turn your school into a Huddle school. We also want to say thanks to Gipper. Go to Gipper.com and see how athletic directors are creating world-class marketing content for their school's social media channel. Use the podcast code ADPOD10 and get 10% off. That's Gipper.com. Create custom branded content for your school's social media channel. We also want to say thanks to Hometown Ticketing, the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. Go to hometownticketing.com. They're going to show you how to set up and sell your tickets online. They'll show you how to scan the attendees and collect your revenue. And every step of the way, you'll have a dedicated client success manager providing hands-on support. That's every step of the way. At hometownticketing.com, they'll also show you how to set up and sell tickets for things like school dances, school plays and concerts, even graduation. That's hometownticketing.com. Simple and easy online ticketing. We also want to say thank you to Wall of Fame by Vital Signs. You know, they're on a mission to bring your school's legacy to life. If you're looking for a really cool way to display your school's record boards for all your teams, for all the sports, go to vitalsignswalloffame.com and check out their interactive touchscreen video consoles. You can schedule a demonstration by going to vitalsignswalloffame.com or email them at sales@vitalsignswalloffame.com to get started. Remember, they're on a mission to bring your school's legacy to life. We also want to say thanks to Final Forms, the industry leader in forms and registration. Final Forms can help your stakeholders, your coaches, and you. Final Forms can help you with eligibility, with rosters, and all the reports that come across your desk. They can help your coaches with communication and attendance. And for your stakeholders, they can help with all the forms that are involved when you have an athlete in the house. To take the next steps, go to finalforms.com/Jake. That's finalforms.com/Jake to get started with Final Forms. And we want to say thanks to Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. Athletic surveys are a quick, easy, and affordable way for you to collect comprehensive data that allows you to evaluate and improve your entire athletic program. Schools should have data from their teams about their athletic experience. And Athletic Surveys end of season program offers you customized questions and comprehensive reporting that's partnered with unbiased third-party reports, quick turnarounds, and it's affordable. Schools should hear from the people who love their program, and athletic surveys can provide you with that information. If you've never used a survey to connect with your student athletes or your parents, you're really missing out. Talk to the folks at Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack and let them help you take your athletic program from good to great. Welcome back, everyone, to a special episode of the Educational AD Podcast. Our guest today is Dr. Mekia Troy. She's the athletic director at Creekside High School in Fairburn, Georgia, also a certified master athletic administrator, very active at the state and the national level, and a good friend of the show. So, Dr. Troy, what do you have for our listeners today?
Thanks for having me, Jake. Today, I want to talk about something that's actually very near and dear to my heart. Spent much time on this topic during my dissertation research, and that's on promoting life skills in high school athletics. I think as many of us are former athletes ourselves, we remember from our positive experiences in athletics how much we gained and the benefits from our participation. But it shouldn't be something that we overlook, is the fact that we have to be intentional about promoting these things to our own student athletes and having our coaches do the same, because it just doesn't happen automatically. The NFHS, within their belief statement, they mentioned that sports participation can produce or develop life skills, and it can, but there has to be some intentional effort towards that taking place, because it's not always something that people value. So we have to show them what that value is. A lot of people want scholarships, wins, championships, and those are great things, but they're not things that we can guarantee. And it makes sense to take some of that pressure away from focusing on those things as guarantees, to be able to share with a family. You're bringing your student athlete to participate at our school. Well, I might not be able to guarantee a win, a championship, or even a scholarship, but I can guarantee that I can share something that's going to make them better throughout their lives. And that's going to pay dividends when the ball stops bouncing. And, they may not like it in the moment, but over time, you get to recognize that's actually much more beneficial. And it's the more likely outcome for most participants, because many are not going to go on to have scholarships or may not win a championship. You may not even get to the professional level, but you can all get this experience of developing life skills throughout your participation if someone's intentional about focusing on the value of what that means in high school athletics. So first off, just tell the story. As an athletic administrator, what are the true objectives of your athletic department and what it means to be a participant, whether you are a five-star quarterback or if you're the last guy on the end of the bench. The value of what they're gaining from participation or what's being poured into them from their leadership really shouldn't be any different, just because their level of ability is different. So yes, we teach sports skills, but we also have to make sure that we're teaching life skills, because we know that's going to have an outcome that's much more longer lasting. Take that pressure away, even from the coaching staff and themselves. If I can guarantee that a coach is going to hit these important factors for the student athletes and how it can benefit them for their lives, then I know they're going to make the effort to be a good coach to them too, because they're going to see the value in it. And I think as an athletic administrator, that gives you the opportunity to trust that coach to be doing the right things for your student athletes, even when you're not around. So as a teacher, an educator, you learn to teach to the test. But we know that life in itself is going to be a test. So why not teach to that particular test? One that we got some of the answers on just by living. And let's share that with our student athletes as they're going through their own lives, regardless of their level of sports skill, because again, that's something that both the star and the role player have in common. They've got life. So let's help them in the life that they do have. It's also important that we recognize what the teachable moments are when they arise. It could be something as simple as learning the importance of cleaning up behind yourself, or keeping your locker room tidy, or clearing the bus after you get off, just something that's going to carry on throughout life. Or it could be a deeper story that you're trying to share. You may be teaching a press breaker in basketball, but you're also helping them to understand what it's like to attack an obstacle and to rely on people around them and to put themselves in a positions to have multiple options. That's how you break a press in basketball. And in life, you're going to run into situations where challenges that you're going to have to continue to push through. And you want to do that with the same way. But as a coach or as a leader, you have the opportunity to use those as teachable moments to just kind of sneak in a hidden nugget to make sure that they're getting both the sports skills and the life skills at the same time. There's no reason for our student athletes to repeat some of the same mistakes that we've either experienced or seen others experience. So why not use as many teachable moments as we can? Because a lot of coaches, you want to talk anyway. You're already going to tell them something. Why not throw in that while you have their undivided attention to try to help them to make good decisions for their lives because of the things that you've already experienced and some of the things you can help them to avoid. Athletic administrators may also have the same opportunities with your relationships with your student athletes. I recall a time where a student came to me to complain about a new coach. And in that moment, this is a student athlete that I knew well. In that moment, I recognized that it wasn't about the new coach. It was about the change and her discomfort in the change. So that was an opportunity for me to really help her to see there's nothing wrong with the coach. You're just comfortable with one way. And now you're going through this transition and you're having to adjust. You're not used to it. It's not comfortable. You're going to get used to it. You don't need to quit. There's nothing wrong. The coach does like you. It's fine. But I needed her to recognize that as she goes through life, you're going to run into a lot more transitions. There's going to be a lot of changes. You may have a boss that you feel does not like you, but at the end of the day, you're not going to quit because you need your job. You've got bills, you've got a family to take care of, and you're going to have to press forward. And in time, things do get better. And the same thing happened with this particular coach. And she remained a part of the team and things got better. But it was about her learning that you had to just push through this transition. And it's something that she's going to continue to face as she goes through life. So even as ADs, you get a chance to try to drop in some of those hidden gems or nuggets to your student athletes and even to your coaches to make sure they recognize the bigger picture of what it is that we're trying to do through educational athletics. It's also important that we celebrate the things that we value. And sometimes that's not always the leading scorer. They're going to get their accolades anyway from even people outside of the school. It's going to happen. One thing that I like to press our coaches on is to make sure that when we have even our athlete of the week recognitions, it's not just based on the leading stats. What else are those athletes bringing to the table? Have they shown how they faced adversity and overcome something? Have they shown commitment to the program? Are they there every day? Are they consistent? Do they listen well? Are they doing well in school? There are other things that we can learn to celebrate to show that there's value beyond just the scorebook. And I think that we have to show that there's value there and teach them there's value there so that they can take it on as well. And even as we do that, I believe that even those that are your leading scorers or receivers of the most stats, they'll recognize that it's important for me to do those things too, so that I can be a more well-rounded student athlete. And as they approach these things, they'll see the importance of the little things too. I think it's important that we celebrate growth. Maybe this person will never score 4 touchdowns, or they'll never be 10 points or more in basketball. However, maybe they dove for a loose ball and that's something that they wouldn't have done in the previous week. Or maybe they took one extra stride in a track meet to, give it all they could. Any of those things just to push forward. And we as leaders need to be able to celebrate that growth, to show them that it's important that you gave your all, that you gave what you could, so that they'll know that as they continue through life, it's important to continue to try, to continue to push. And by doing so, it's relatable to other aspects of life. And I just think that's important that we recognize as a leadership that we can influence what they value. So we should celebrate even those small things. So in all, I think it's important for us to recognize that we have to promote life skills in high school athletics. By promoting it, we show that it has value. As we get into this conversation in recent times about NIL, well, all they're doing is promoting whoever the brand or company is. by promoting it, you feel that it has some value that benefits you. And if we as athletic leaders believe that life skills have some value to our student athletes and how they go forward, then we have to promote that intentionally and not just assume that's going to happen on its own.
Boy, again, a lot of really cool stuff there. One of the things that jumped out for me was, as athletic directors, you can be, a manager of your programs. You can schedule the games and the buses and all that. You can have all the data, but to take that next step and really, as you probably did as a coach, continue to have an impact on the lives of kids, and now as the AD, the coach of the coaches, okay,
Right.
find those ways to connect, and recognizing, I know there's a lot of different words for them. I used this for years. I didn't invent it, but small victories. You talked about the kid diving for the loose ball. If you're at that game that night, you can see that kid the next day in the hallway, and that might have been there only 30 seconds on the floor, but if you comment on that, wow, that kid's is on cloud nine. Same thing with coaches, just dropping those little thank yous and, great job. Those pats on the back. Sometimes we end up just kicking them in the butt, but finding ways to pat them on the back, I just think are so crucial for a leader. Really cool stuff. Okay. And again, a ton of information in there. If one of our listeners wants to reach out and pick your brain a little bit more, and listeners, I think you got a great resource here. What's the best way they can get in touch with you?
Yeah, email is fine. That's my last name, Troy, first initial M, Troy M at fultonschools.org, or Twitter, Dr. Troy Me, DrTroyme on Twitter.
Dr. Mekia Troy, thanks again for sharing today, and all the best with your programs as you continue with the 2023 season.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
For listeners, remember, we do this just about every day, new content, either an interview or a special segment, and the videos get uploaded to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time on the Educational AD Podcast. Once again, we want to thank all of our great sponsors: Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack, Sideline Interactive, Gipper, Hometown Ticketing, Huddle, Snap, Raise, Final Forms, and Wall of Fame by Vital Signs. Every single one of these sponsors, I have used, with the one exception of Hometown Ticketing. They came out just as I was retiring, but I've talked to hundreds of ADs that use Hometown and they swear by it. And again, every single one of our sponsors, they do a great job. You really need to check them out. I would not have them on the podcast if they weren't worthy of your time. So check out Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack, Sideline Interactive, Vital Signs Wall of Fame, Final Forms, Snap, Huddle, Gipper, and Hometown Ticketing. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time on the Educational AD Podcast.